Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast, where today I have a dear friend with me. I have Mr. Gordon Tittsworth of Images of Eden, Arizona-based band Images of Eden. Great success over the years, touring with legendary acts like Geoff Tate, Metal Church, Doro, Stryper, Michael Schenker, Yngwie Malmsteen. You got it. You name it, they've been there. Many more. The band had their sixth studio release last year with a 5-song EP for the Pavement Entertainment label called Weathered and Torn. And it's just amazing. Images of Eden are currently preparing for a European tour with WASP. Is there anybody that you haven't played with, Gordon? It's pretty great, man.
Plenty. I wouldn't mind being on a stadium tour opening up for Iron Maiden if you can swing that, brother.
There we go. I'll work on it, man.
But in all reality, I mean, when I just listened back to the names that you mentioned, I mean, if I could talk to myself even 5 years ago and tell that person this is what's going to happen, he wouldn't believe me. So it's happening, man. The dream's coming true.
Yeah, and that's so cool. And you've been working at this for a long time.
Yes.
People will see you as a newer band because it's breaking for you in these last recent years. But you've been at this for a long time, 20 years or so now.
Yeah, we're the first album was released on March 5th, 2001. So yeah, we're it just turned 22.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you have to love what you're doing or quit.
Yes, no doubt. Now, tell me when you hear something like from Chapter One, the first record, or Sunlight of the Spirit. I listen to Dreamcatcher and like Tribal Scars from Rebuilding the Ruins.
Yeah.
I'm I love that stuff, and it's not far from what you're doing. For me, as a listener, as a fan, it's similar to the same. This is Images of Eden. It's still Images of Eden. How do you feel when you hear that initial stuff? Because you did all the writing and all the playing pretty much, except for drums. How's it feel to hear those records and then put something like Angelborn on and Weathered and Torn? It's got to be different for you because you have a full band now and everything's progressing. How's it feel for you when you
it's intense. I mean, I tell you the one thing, in the last year, a friend and fan who's actually a press guy locally here really got into Chapter One and really loved one of the songs off of their September that he said really talked to him. And I hadn't listened to Chapter One in forever. So I put it on a couple of months ago and I hadn't heard it in forever. And it just sounded so different. I mean, I'm 50 right now. I was 26 I was 27 when I was tracking vocals for that album. And I went back and I could hear myself as kind of like the young bull, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, man, I love that album. I've always loved that album. I love what it stood for. I always feel like the first album of a band is basically, how do I put this in words? The most uninhibited creativity because no bar has been set.
Right.
You set the bar with your first album. Yep. And, I don't listen. I really don't listen to Sunlight of the Spirit or Rebuilding the Ruins. I haven't listened to either one of those in a very long time, for their own really weird reasons. Rebuilding the Ruins. Well, anyway, I'm gonna get too long-winded, but yeah, to answer your question, it sounds cool because it's like that was a different era back then. That was before we connected with Steve Dorsum and the crew out in Arizona, and that was sort of before we reformed. Matter of fact, the only original member from before Soul Rise is Dean Harris, and he came in on the third album, Rebuilding the Ruins. But It is cool because every one of those old albums is a snapshot in time, and I was still trying to sort of figure it out. Chapter One was a snapshot in time, Spirit was, Ruins was, and then there was a long hiatus when a lot of things were happening and we reformed. There was. It's still cool because a lot of people don't know we have those albums, and I love those albums because they're just. It was a different place in time, but it shows the evolution, and I'm glad it does because I'm glad it shows the evolution. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I listened to a couple songs off of Chapter One. I'm thinking like Jade's Dream, September. Brave Horse, and then I listened to In Memory of Me off of Angel Born, and then Count to Zero off of Weathered and Torn, and it just sounds like, well, it is. It's been 22 years apart, so it definitely sounds.
I mean, you know, and it sounds like I said, it sounds like Images of Eden to me. I see it all as a one entity, one catalog, and it's all a beautifully flowing catalog.
That's awesome, brother.
You know, it really is. It's a journey, and it's really inspirational. All of it, you know, even like the new album, Weathered and Torn, heavy, a little bit darker. The themes are a little angrier, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I think people may hear the band and think it's a Christian rock band at you know, in a lot of ways. Are you okay with that label, Christian rock band?
I'm glad you brought this up. I have said this before, but here's the thing. We don't market ourselves as a Christian band. And the reason why we don't is because Christian rock, Christian metal, whatever, the lyrics, generally speaking, I have to say generally speaking, because I can't use absolutes and they'll break me over the coals. Generally speaking, are very preachy. They're very Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. They're very biblical and very, I mean, it's very, you know, if you're a non-believer, you're probably not going to eat, you're probably going to run from it.
Right.
We never put the Christian label on us. We're five believers, but we don't put that label on us. I mean, we're a band of survivors. Every one of us has survived something, whether it's addiction, PTSD, trauma, abuse. Every one of us has a story. We're all survivors. And what we've done is we tell the story of our survival and examples of our survivals and how we got through all of the obstacles that we got through. Mm-hmm. But the common denominator and who got us through and who brought us the strength and who's kind of, you know, really lifted us, that guy.
Yeah.
So do we put the Christian metal label on ourselves? We don't. No, because anybody, I don't care whether you're a Christian, whether you're an agnostic, or whether you're an atheist. If you read our lyrics, there is something there that you will totally relate to, something that you've gone through.
Right.
But that being said, we do have a pretty sizable Christian metal fan base. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I said, you know, that's the distinction. Yeah. And we never put that label on us. I mean, we're on a secular label. We've gone on secular tours. We belong on secular tours because we are literally, I guess, I wouldn't use the word targeting, but we're targeting the secular audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just with things that they need, but might not know.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I love that explanation and to you know, solidify that thought, you're going out with WASP. They have a big banner that says "I funk like a beast."
Right, exactly. Couldn't be a better band to go out with. Right?
Right, there you go. This tour needs you.
Good, man. And you know, we couldn't. Yeah, I honestly think this couldn't have happened in a better way. I mean, you know, we got home from tour, shook the dust off. That was a hard tour to walk off. We didn't just walk that off in a couple of days. And, you know, you were there for 4 of the shows. So you got to see it. And I think by the time, you know, we got settled, it was holiday season, Christmas and all. And then right after Christmas, it's like, okay, right in January, usually in the last several years, we say, okay, what are we going to do this year? What's the plan this year? We didn't even know what we were going to do yet. And boom, we got a call. WASP tour, Europe. Are you guys in? I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. We've struggled and struggled and struggled and fought to get on everything that we got on. Mm-hmm. Nothing has ever fallen in our laps like this. Yeah. So basically, when it fell in our laps, we're like, okay, guys, 9 weeks, 47 shows. You good? I'm like, whoa, hold on. I wish I could do that. I said, we just can't get away for the whole thing. So we let them know, we're like, this is the hardest no we're ever going to have to say. They said, well, can you do half of it? We said, absolutely, we're there. Wow. So, you know, they sent our information to Blackie. Blackie checked us out and he liked us. He actually said some good things, paid us a good compliment to the agent, which was really cool to hear because Blackie is a guy, he's in charge, and it's going his way. So
Yep.
if he's happy with the band that's going to be touring with him, which he clearly is, which is great,
Yep.
that's just going to do wonders for us. I mean, we have kind of, we've been on multiple tours with multiple bands in the past, and there's always been that, at least that one person that where we really get the third class citizen treatment. I don't think we're going to get it this time. I really don't. I think, it's WASP and us, full catering, full everything. We're playing some big shows. From what I've seen a couple of the venues, and a couple of them are actual arenas. So I don't know what all of the venues look like, but if we're doing an arena tour to any degree, we've gotten the grand prize that we fought our whole lives for.
It's just great, man. It's just great, and it
is.
It's right here, man. It's fantastic. And you mentioned that I saw 4 of those shows. Saw you open for Yngwie. And not many people know. Not a lot of people know I'm a photographer as well, and caught the images in that. And one of them's my background on my computer of you. And it's inspirational to look back at those images, because you're such a passionate performer, as is all of the band. It jumps off the stage at you. People, if you have a chance to see this tour in Europe, or when you guys play in the States or wherever, go see this band. It's and take a look at the images, and you can almost hear the band. It's incredible how much I captured with the camera of everything's passionate. It's a passion. It comes, like I say, it jumps off the stage, and it's a real gift to see you guys. For sure.
I can't thank you enough for that compliment, because that really makes what we do worthwhile. I mean, ever since I started writing, going back to the first album, I mean, I literally fought an addiction and survived it barely just before I started writing for Images of Eden. And I was 24 hours away from death, and everything that came out was 1000% passionate. It was about that survival. It was about getting through everything and just sort of the survivals of life. And, I think about it, it's like, the way I see it, if you're a singer or a songwriter and you're not writing something that is going to evoke massive passion, why are you doing it? Yeah. It would be redundant. Everything that I write, I feel, I believe, I've lived. When they say blood, sweat, and tears, it's the truth. That it is absolutely the truth. And when we're the lyrics of the songs that we're singing are so personal that there's no way I can deliver it other than almost crying them out. I mean, that's the way they come out, and that's the way they have to. And if I don't believe them, and if that sincerity and that passion doesn't shine through, how's the audience going to believe me? Yeah. But to your point, I think it was actually St. Charles at the Arcada Theater. A couple people mentioned exactly what you said, and that felt really good. I was like, okay, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, totally. And it's an experience to see you guys.
Good. That's cool.
Extremely tight, of course. All these guys are incredible players. What's your musical education? I don't think we ever went over this. We've talked a million times. And I remember, you play everything on the first album except for drums. The first few albums. That's a lot of responsibility. That is a lot of musical education.
And this is advice I would give to everybody too. When I started off, I was 13 when I first picked up my first guitar, and I didn't really want to do anything other than play guitar. I just wanted to play guitar and shred. I wanted to be, an Eddie Van Halen, Malmsteen, Steve Vai, Petrucci. That's it. I just wanted to shred. Long story short, we were in our high school. We were trying to form our band in high school, and we had everybody there minus the singer, and we were trying to audition singers. And I mean, we got through about 9 or 10, and they couldn't do what we wanted them to do. So kind of during that time, I was intrigued by drums, so I was kind of I sort of started kind of learning drums in sort of a remedial working way. Um, I don't know why, but I started to learn bass, and I figured, this is kind of nice to learn these other instruments. You see the big ball of wax from different angles. It's kind of like when you're playing guitar, you see it this way. When you're doing the vocals, you see it this way,
Right.
and it's just something that I was compelled to do, and I'm glad I did, because over the years, whenever we were doing an album and we were missing a player, I could just fill in on that. Like I played guitar and bass and keys for a couple albums and that type of thing. But I think what it was after I'd heard "Awaken the Guardian" by Fate's Warning and heard John Arch's vocals, that mixed with the frustration of not finding a singer, I said, let me see if I've got anything. And it was not good at first, but I played with it a little bit, and after a little bit, I thought, I might have a little something to work with. So, but anyway, to back up, when I first started playing guitar, I took formal lessons from a really good guitar instructor, and he showed me not just technique but a lot of theory back then, which really helped. I learned enough theory so that I knew the rules, but I didn't want to learn too much theory, because I have a guitarist friend who's just really educated, and he's so boxed in.
Right.
It boxes him in. I said, I don't want to be too educated with the theory and the rules, because I like to do things, as you've heard enough of our recordings, I like to do things that are going to surprise you or that are unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And that unpredictability, again, man, I think you just sort of box yourself in. But anyway, long story short, that was my main musical theory. I took vocal lessons twice. When I was 18, I took it from an opera singer. She was pretty good. Lost my voice in 2011 and couldn't get it back, and sought out a vocal coach, Jamie Vendera. This guy is amazing. He not only helped me get my voice back, but he helped me soar way beyond where I ever was. So that was a big blessing in disguise. I know it's a long-winded answer, man, but that's how I roll.
No, that's awesome. That is great. I mean, well, you've got a big history. That's it's a work. It's a work in progress, kind of.
Yeah.
We're still on this journey, and it's going to great places, man. It's so cool.
I appreciate it, man. Yep.
Yeah, it's cool. The new record, I say new, it's still new. Weathered and Torn.
It's going to be new until our next one comes out.
Right, exactly. And hopefully you don't follow that Guns N' Roses thing where it's new for 16 years or something.
Exactly.
Weathered and Torn. You got a 5-song EP, and like I say, it's really aggressive. It's angry. This came at a point in the pandemic, and you guys are always inspirational, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, like I said. But this is angrier than anything else you've really done. That's intentional, right?
It was. If we rewind to pretty much a year ago, right around now, actually it's March. Rewind a little bit further. Go back to February of last year, when Steve and I were talking about the plans for 2022. And we weren't really sure we had a few ideas. So we looped in Pavement, our label, and kind of had a discussion. And at the time, and Tim King from Pavement really nailed it on the head. He said, listen, you guys, you kind of always kind of teeter between melodic and heavy. He goes, you've proven yourselves in the States. You've gone on multiple tours. We want to get you to Europe. And yes, we wanted to get to Europe. And what he said was, if you kind of melodic and heavy, you just sort of lean it a little over to the heavier side, shoot it with some steroids a little bit, and we'll see if that can't be our key to Europe, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of worked out well, because we hadn't written anything since the plandemic, pronounced correctly, started. And, Angel Born was the last thing that we had written, but Angel Born was fully written before COVID hit. So that was easy to write. There's like, okay, we were all pissed off.
Yeah.
COVID and everything that happened, we didn't believe the narrative. We're in that group of people that we don't believe what the media is trying to sell us. And when I say trying, because they're not too successful, there were so many holes in the narrative and everything they were trying to tell us. And there was a lot of anger, and I mean, to the point of almost rage. I felt myself in a bad place for a while. I mean, just a cup of coffee away from freaking out on anybody who came at me, because I saw this for what it was. This was not a leak. This was a man-made thing that was unleashed on us purposefully. And if you said that, you were a conspiracy theory, MAGA, right-wing extremist.
Right.
No, we're just following the breadcrumbs, and we don't believe the narrative that the mass media are trying to sell us. Anyway, not to get too much into that.
Yep.
So I was really just, I mean, in an almost borderline rage. So really, Weathered and Torn was a 5-song EP that was our reaction to COVID, what we were put through. And I mean, there was a lot of unnecessary, just the unnecessary everything. I mean, you lock down, you shut people down, you ruin people's lives. I mean, you close the churches, but you keep the liquor stores open. So, you see where this is going.
Yep.
So anyway, I mean, we were basically saying it's okay not to be okay. We're not, and we're almost always in some sort of way in a good place. We're not. We're going to be straight up with you. We're pissed off. And that's kind of what it was. I mean, you take a song like Coexistence, we literally put the dividing line here. Okay, my thought is we can't coexist with people who want to kill us, and that's it. This is it. Push come to shove. But really, like you said, at the end of the day, we don't harp on negativity. We're going to say, yes, these are the frustrations that we're all going through. These are the things that have just pissed us off. But at the end of the day, there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. If you look at any one of those songs, there is light at the end of the tunnel. If it comes across as dark or negative, which it should, but it's just what we have to go through so that we can get to that better place. Count the Zeros about making a change and being in a really bad place. I can relate to that perfectly. Survivor's Guilt's exactly that. I mean, I think we've all lost someone during this whole pandemic. And if you say that COVID didn't affect you, I wouldn't believe you. It's affected us all.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's essentially it. So it's no matter how bad things get, we're always going to focus on that light at the end of the tunnel. You have to.
Yeah. Yeah, and you climb that mountain in those songs. You climb out of that hole and find a brighter place. Yep. That's what we love. That's what's inspirational about all of this.
Awesome.
I always tell my kids, feel life, feel anger, feel love, feel passionate about things. And you've just put that on exhibition here. You were angry. You were on a border of tearing heads off. That's you're feeling it, and that is the beauty of when you make this music and perform on those stages. The whole audience feels it. You're feeling it so much when you sing about love, when you sing about anger. We feel all of that, and that's what makes all of this work, at least for me. It draws me in, it gives me chills, and I absorb myself in this music. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's so awesome. And, just like you said, I totally agree with what you said. You have to feel all these emotions, and you have to allow yourself to feel them in their extreme form.
Yeah.
Because I don't get inspired by the wind blows outside and knocked over something. I couldn't think of anything. I need to feel some extreme emotion, whether it's positive or negative. Mm-hmm. Always sparks the creativity.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. And when I say, and just like you said, you have to allow yourself to feel the emotion and to feel the extreme level of the emotion, because allow it to hit you hard, because when it hits you hard, it's going to produce something substantial. You've heard, pain helps art.
Yeah,
it does. I still think that the best work I've ever done it was inspired very quickly after a massive unpredictable loss that I had, and that was the Angel Born album.
Mhm.
I was just in tears and I was a mess for at least 9 of the songs, most of the songs on that album, just trudging through. And I knew that when I felt it, and when I felt something really good and something really powerful that I got chills from, I knew it was right. And I'm thinking, if I'm getting chills from this, I can only hope that the audience does as well.
Oh.
And I'm taking the song "In Memory of Me" off of that album. That the song "Angel Born," "In Memory of Me," "My Promise," and "Marigold Sun," I was in tears writing at some point, whether it was the guitar part, whether it was tracking the vocals, or both, to the point where I had to walk it off.
Yeah.
And to me, I wouldn't want it any other way, because I mean, you and I have talked about the song "In Memory of Me." I have had now probably pushing 10 to 12 people who have individually said that song has brought them to tears or really affected them that way. And I just think I could never have gotten a better compliment ever. That song's about healing. That song is about dealing with loss. And I felt it. I still feel it. I listened to it the other day for the first time in a while, and I was teary-eyed. I can't even listen to the ending. I'm a mess.
Yeah.
And but again, I wouldn't want it any other way, because like you said, this is how it has to be. It's weird because right now for the next album, number 7, the faucet is dripping, meaning there's not much coming out right now.
Well, I would hope not. You guys are pretty busy.
Yeah. I'm trying. I sat down a couple times. All right, let's see. Come on, what's coming out? Nothing. Okay. So I said, well, clearly that's a sign. Don't try to write now. It's not the time.
Mm-hmm.
Prepare for the tour. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so after the tour, I have a feeling that this summer, June, July, and August, I kind of have a feeling the floodgates may reopen, especially after the experiences from the tour. But I mean, it's weird because I feel like some of the writing is almost shifting now, because what I do have of number 7 that I like was inspired by the previous tour and some things that happened. So obviously that's what's got to happen. I've got to have these next set of experiences, the good, the bad, the sad, the happy, the everything, to really inspire the next the next body of work. So I'm good with the inspiration being muted.
Yeah.
Gives me a break.
Yeah, man. You did the Michael Schenker tour not that long ago. And that was 2 months, right? Something like that.
Yeah. I think we ended in October. Wow. At 5 months, but it doesn't seem like it.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, I mean, you're on the road for a long time. You got this one coming up. And Weathered and Torn in between there, being that angry record, I asked myself, what is that 7th record gonna sound like? Are you gonna keep that aggressive feel throughout the record, or will we get a more melodic Images of Eden?
Yeah.
So it's still working for you. You're not sure yourself, right?
Well, the good thing is I'm asking that same question.
Right.
I have no idea.
And that's the fun part of the journey, is it not?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. What's really fun is after every album, because every album's a snapshot in time, then there's always a little bit of a gap before the writing of the next album starts. Mm-hmm. And anytime or during that gap, something always happens to where it creates another unique snapshot next.
Yeah.
I know that it's going to be the same way with number 7. I just don't know what it's going to be. Every single album was a progression from the previous in some sort of way, in some sort of way that I wouldn't have predicted. I have no idea what's going to happen next. I think I should just relax, work on preparing for the tour, do my best on the tour, get home, let the dust settle, and then see what inspiration hits. I can almost guarantee, and I think we can kind of, and a year from now, we'll look back to this, and I think we could say, I have a feeling it's going to be yet something new, a new element that's added in that's just going to set this apart. At least I hope so.
Sure. I mean, Europe is a whole different animal, really.
Yeah,
So you'll have great experiences there. And a lot to write about, I'm sure.
yeah,
Um, Dean, played with you since 2010, 2011.
yeah.
Dean Harris, of course, keyboardist. I didn't see him on the Michael Schenker tour. He was not able to be on the Michael Schenker tour. Um, will he be in Europe with you?
Yeah, Dean unfortunately had a limited availability on during the Schenker tour. He will be with us for the entire European tour. I think he's
Nice.
going to have to just miss a couple of shows at the beginning, but I think he comes in at show number 6, and then yeah, we just go.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I had a chance to see him with on the Yngwie tour, and
yeah,
it's great. It's great to have that keyboard there, and he's a masterful player. So
yeah.
yeah,
He is.
it's cool. How do you prepare for a tour like this? Now you'll be doing 22 shows in 26 days. That's a lot of time on a bus and back-to-back dates. You'll
Oh
have
yeah,
seven days in a row at 7 different venues at some point.
yeah.
Uh, for a
How do
singer,
you prepare?
especially, is there a regimen? And I know you take care of yourself and you treat your instrument well, but that's tough. That is a tough schedule
Yeah.
for a singer. Is there something you do to make that as good as possible?
There's a lot, and with that being said, no matter how much you prepare, you don't know what's going to happen until you get out there. But it's a crazy world out there. All I do is, I mean, one thing I do is I sing the set for a while before the tour. I sing, from the beginning to end, just go through the set. I try to, I mean, I can't do it every day. You'll burn out, but a couple times a week, go through the set. Stay as healthy as possible. Go to the gym because you're going to need every ounce of strength you could possibly muster up. Touring is literally, and I'm going to speak in absolute, the most physically challenging thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And it is not easy. And on top of that, you have to be at the top of your game every night. So yeah, a lot of weights, cardio, just trying to stay healthy with vitamins and everything I could possibly, do. Just prepare as much as possible, and then and just hope you stay healthy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, on the Schenker tour, we got to Denver, which was like stop 5 or 6 or something like that. I had already gotten sick. My head's clogged. I have 2 knee braces on. I've got vertigo from we were in a dry climate, low,
Right.
and then we're up to Denver. We're mile high and it's wet. Got sick. I mean, if I turn my head, I'm spinny. If I lean my head back too far, I've got a pinched nerve that just shoots numbness here. So between being sick, spinny, a pinched nerve, 2 blown out knees, and I have to act like everything's completely fine. So, so yeah, I hope that doesn't happen this time.
Right. There are challenges for sure. And I did 4 out of 5 days with you guys. And I wasn't even I'm not even on stage playing or anything. I was just shooting the show. Just the drives, getting to the venues, day after day. I was exhausted by day 5 and I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
You're exactly right.
It is, it's tedious to, get somewhere, get off, play the show, get back on, go to the next show, do the same thing, and those, I've heard it so much from musicians that 60 minutes or 45 minutes or 90 minutes, whatever you're playing on stage, is the greatest thing ever. It's pure elation. But all the other, the other 23 hours of the day is exhausting and excruciating.
It's funny you say that because when we were on tour with Schenker, we really bonded immediately with his bass player Baron Courbois, who was actually he was in Blind Guardian for a while. As soon as I heard that, I thought, man, one major blind guardian, have for a very long time. Yeah. He said it best. He said, of the 24 hours of your day, nothing matters. The only thing that matters is when you step out on that stage for your 40 minutes, your hour, your 90 minutes. That is the only thing that matters. The rest of the day is preparation, doesn't matter. When the moment you walk on that stage, that is the only thing that matters for that entire day. And he's absolutely right. I don't care what has happened to you during the day. You put any frustration, any pain, anything aside. I mean, like I said, 2 blown out knees. I got the spins. I have to stand there like I'm like everything's fine.
Yep.
But yeah, that's exactly it. And I remembered that. And you're exactly right, because yes, everything you do, when that intro starts and then, they hit that first note and we just blast into, survivor's guilt, everything was okay. It just seemed like, okay, here we are. It's real again. Yeah. But yeah, you nailed it on the head.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You videos for you guys are incredible. Steve, of course, Steve Dorsey, right, the drummer, a video director, just great with that stuff. The videos you guys put out are, like the music, inspirational, impactful, passionate. There's a lot in them. And one of them, the one that, I mean, the least of that is Fight the Good Fight. And it's a kind of a tour diary thing. I see my home base there, the Arcada Theater.
Yep.
A lot of it in there. I think about Europe, and I think about you guys touring Europe. It would be great to see you guys preparing in those venues and things. Is there a plan for that? Do you have anybody who's doing camera or anything like that?
We're all going to be taking turns doing that. Yeah. And we actually are going to have a band meeting about that to just try to take as much footage as we can. Dean's got a couple GoPros. Otherwise, we've got cell phone footage, but it's kind of good getting that raw footage of just the behind the scenes. Yeah, we're going to try to get as much as we can.
Yeah.
And Steve and I have talked a little bit loosely about, one day we're gonna do a documentary about everything that's happened. And I don't know if it's time or not. I'm gonna bring that up to him. I mean, I guess the main thing is, after this tour, anything can happen, and anything can happen because of this tour. So I think we'll let some time go. But I mean, there have been so many things that have happened behind the scenes with us, collectively and individually, and some of it from an, I would almost say, supernatural, paranormal aspect too. Some of it's kind of creepy. We have a lot to say, and we've got a lot of good material that we could actually put together in an actual documentary, and we're at some point going to do that. We just don't know when the time's right. But that's definitely another thing that we're saving some footage for. So yeah, we're going to try to get as much footage of as much as we can.
That's great news, man. Yeah, documentary would be fantastic. Just for the fans, because I mean, we know that you guys work hard at what you do. So seeing that, like I say, Fight the Good Fight. I love watching you guys do this, and you're exhausted, but you're having fun too. And it's a brotherhood, it's a family, and that is great for the fans. We love to see a happy family, a family that puts things together, and puts out this great music. So, but and to go with the other videos that you guys do, Count to Zero, just incredible. All of them are just really like little mini movies. Do you have a plan for another video? I know you got the tour and everything going on. And do you like making the videos? I know Steve does. Yeah.
It's one of my, I love filming videos. It's one of my favorite things next to the actual studio writing. Filming videos is great because it always starts off with Steve and myself having a conversation of, all right, what song is going to be the video song or songs, and what are the concepts going to be? And to me, and to Steve too, a video for the song is just now another really good opportunity to put another message out there. And this time, a visual message, a storyline that you can see. And every single one of our videos, again, just like the music, it has a story of something that we've been through. I mean, you want to go back to Shield Me off of Soul Rise. It had to do with addiction. After that, just My Promise, loss of someone really close to you, and getting confirmation that they're in a good place. Yeah, fight the good fight is that was a little bit of an anomaly, but yeah, Count to Zero is just about making change as soon as possible. Tomorrow's not promised. We've learned that through COVID. I mean, we're all anything can happen to any one of us at any time, so it's imperative that we seize the moment and change anything about ourselves that we don't like. And that also was sort of kind of mirrored my own story of kicking an addiction 25 years ago. So parts of that video were kind of hard to watch. There's one piece of it. There's one about 10-second part of that video I have to turn away. I can't look at every time. It brings back, it hits home way too hard. But that being said, filming videos is great. It's so much fun, especially Autumn is Burning was great because I got to crawl through the desert. And, first they killed me off and then they brought me back and then, got to crawl through the desert and just a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my whole life, I always wanted to act, at least in some, I always wanted some kind of opportunity to jump in front of a camera. And this was just, between this and Count to Zero, it was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I'm watching Count to Zero and it's horrifying. And knowing knowing you especially is extremely horrifying, knowing your story and everything. And I'm like, and when you say you can't look at it, I get that. I have trouble looking at it. So it's got to be great to be an actor for a little while.
It is.
You do it so well. It's really, really convincing, man. I mean, it is like horrifying convincing.
I so appreciate it because with Count to Zero, I wasn't acting too much. I literally just had to go back in my head to where I was, and which it brought back things I didn't like, but
yeah,
I don't care. I want to help the person who's scared to get off something. I want to help the person who doesn't think that they're going to survive through their addiction. I'm living proof that not only can you survive, you can live your best life afterwards. And yeah, exactly, brother.
Yeah, make dreams come true, man.
It.
I'm so proud of you, man, and I love you dearly.
Love you too, brother. You guys are awesome, man.
Man, it's just great. Come back after the tour maybe and we can do this again.
Absolutely, man. You got it, brother. Listen, I just want to say for everybody seeing this, Scott, man, you've been a supporter of ours since you first heard us on Angelborn. And not only that, I mean, you've become a close brother to all of us. And you're a part of the Images of Eden family. And I will tell this, of all of the photographers that we had shoot us on the Weathered and Torn US tour, your pictures were just above and beyond. And I would say anybody who's reading this who wants to just pro shots at their shows, they need to scoop you up and get you to their show because you do an amazing job, brother. And like I said, we would have you anytime and every time we possibly can. So I just want you to know we appreciate you. You're right here with us, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Always,
You had some great photographers. I want to say, you there's a lot of cameras pointing at you, and there's a lot of great photographers out there. So that means the world. It absolutely means the world. And I cannot wait to see you guys again.
Absolutely, man.
Hopefully, I want to get on a plane and go over there for at least one of those dates. But I don't think I could do that. But yeah, it will be soon. For sure. Perfect. As soon as you get back, and we'll do this again for sure.
Absolutely. I say, why don't we do this when we get back and I shake it off. Let's get back on another one, man. Let's give you the story.
All right, man. I appreciate you, Gordon. I love you dearly,
you too, man.
And tell the rest of the guys the same. I miss them, love them, and good luck on this tour, man.
Absolutely, man. We'll talk to you later, brother.
All right. Take care, bud.
All right, man.
Bye.
You got it. Bye.